Hello, very good morning. Thanks for joining us on the Flux News Axiom curve. Today's date's the 17th of the 2nd, 2015. You have listening to PJ, and I'm joined with Stav. We've got some articles to kick us off with. The first article that you can see there is the Egyptian airstrikes in Libya killed dozens of ISIS militants. Training bases and weapons stockpiles targeted day after Islamic State militants post beheading videos. So I'm going to play a video, but it's not going to be the beheading video. Well, it wasn't when I at least checked earlier. So go ahead and play this. It's for just over a minute long.
ومناطق تمركز وتدريب ومخازن أسلحة وذخائر تنظيم داعش الإرهابي بالأراضي الليبية.
So there's the Egypt TV broadcaster, the footage purporting to show fighter jets bombing Islamic State targets in Libya. Egyptian war planes have hit jihadi targets in Libya in swift revenge for the murder of 21 Christian workers by mass militants affiliated to the Islamic State, or ISIS, widening the North African country's already grave crisis. Airstrikes on weapons caches and training camps were announced on Monday by the Armed Forces General Command in Cairo, the first time Egypt has acknowledged any kind of military intervention in its increasingly chaotic and violent western neighbour. The attacks were to avenge the bloodshed and to seek retribution from the killers, a spokesman said. Let those far and near know that Egyptians have a shield that protects them. They followed Sunday's release of a graphic propaganda video showing the first mass execution outside ISIS's familiar heartland in Syria and Iraq. Egyptian airstrike killed 64 ISIS fighters, including 3 of the leadership in the coastal cities of Derna and Sirte. The Libyan army said. Reports reaching Tunis said at least 35 more Egyptians have been rounded up by ISIS in retaliation for the morning air raids, but there was no confirmation of this from the Egyptian presidential spokesman. Just goes on into the article from Guardian here, and connection with that we've also got the Reuters in Canada. They're covering the same storyline with an additional line here, which says the Omar al-Hassi, premier of the self-appointed Tripoli government, said 3 children, 2 elderly men and a 21-year-old woman were killed in the attack, which had no mention that I could see in the Guardian article there. So I just thought I'd add that in. This is from Reuters Canada, which states that there. It was not possible to confirm either faction's accounts of the number of, or nature of the casualties. Cairo called on the US-led coalition fighting Islamic State in Iraq and Syria to broaden the scope of their operations to include Libya, highlighting how the insurgent group has expanded its reach around the Arab world. Jordan has taken a leading role in conducting airstrikes against the group in Syria and Iraq this month, after the militants released a video showing a captured Jordanian pilot being burned alive in a cage. I'm not sure if you've seen the video. I'm not going to recommend anybody to go out there and go looking. Me personally, in my opinion, it's it's really unnecessary to watch it anyway. But based on what's been going off today over in Libya, the Egyptian Air Force have been getting involved, doing some drone airstrikes. And I think Andy had an article that, connected to this. Is that right, Andy? Did you have a section you'd like to show regarding the Libya? Not sure if we can, if we've got any audio coming from your side there. Okay, well, we'll try and get a connection back to Andy.
Hang on, what about now?
We've got you. There you go.
Yeah, I think what I might do is stop sharing the screen after this, because I think both of us sharing at once, it's messing things up. I don't know. Anyway, let's see if I can get this up. Hopefully it'll work.
Okay, no worries. This is just the connected article that you'd like to show, yeah? In relation to the one I'm talking about.
It's just the info wars. It's just gonna be a pain in it tonight.
There you go.
Basically, yeah. This is Egypt enters war on ISIS after questionable beheading video surfaces. Usual suspects site group releases Christian beheading video. Once again, this is by Kurt Nemo from Infowars. Once again, the site group, the intelligence front operating as a terrorism research company, has produced a Hollywood-esque ISIS video. You see, this is the same group that releases these videos. It just basically goes over pretty much what you've already said in your article. But I wanted to sort of connect there because, Kurt Nemo is connected in this. It's the same group that keeps releasing these same videos anyway. The latest video reportedly showing the beheading of Coptic Christians by the Tripoli province of ISIS prompted the Egyptian military to violate Libyan sovereignty and bomb the city of Derna in Libya. YouTube versions of the video omit the supposed beheadings. This site there, if you click that, if you're following up on this, I'm not going to click it because I think I'm going to get all tied up, but anyway, if you go there, you'll see. However, has posted the entire video supposedly ferreted out by the site. As with other ISIS beheadings videos, the latest video treats the beheadings in a suspicious manner. The beheadings are shown in a series of fast cuts and close-ups. Right, according to reports and coverage on Facebook, the bombing killed civilians, including these are the people that got killed. Yeah, in the bombings. These ain't the beheadings, these are the people that got killed. Tweets among those elders and children killed in Derna, Libya by Abdel Fattah Sisi. And I've got a spinning wheel here because it's not playing ball tonight, PJ, as you can see. I think maybe because we're covering this article, who knows? But
I could see the article while you was talking there, so
it's just images of the destruction of the bombing today, and it's not just a couple of bombs dropped. There's been people killed, and as you can see from the pictures, and the homes destroyed. The Egyptian Forest Ministry issued a statement calling for the international coalition against the Daesh ISIS terrorist organisation to take the necessary measures to confront the terrorist Daesh organisation and other similar terrorist organisations on Libyan territories. Basically, it's just, it's there's more than one site, looking into this whole thing, rather than the official mainstream story that's covered. site intelligence group produces propaganda for war and terror. Since mid-August, the 2000 major news organisation have conveyed videos allegedly found online by the site intelligence group. Unsurprisingly, the same media fail to closely interrogate what the private company actually is and whether the material it promotes should be accepted as genuine. The Search for International Terrorist Entities Intelligence Group site was co-founded by Rita Katz in 2001. The site intelligence group consists of Katz and two senior advisors, one of whom is Bruce Hoffman, the corporate chair of the counter-terrorism and counter-terror-insurgency at the RAND Corporation and former director of the RAND's Washington, D.C. office. So, I've got the spinning wheel again. But, I mean, I just don't think this is going to work tonight, PJ.
It's alright, well, I'll just give you a moment to kickstart that back up. Okay,
Yeah, but
this is the area that, as you can see on the screen there, for those that are viewing. Air raids on ISIS targets, this is the distances and situated areas. The Christians were seized at this point. Victims' hometown. And the air raids on ISIS. So there you go with that one. I will look at it improvement.
No, it's still doing. I'm pretty stuck up here. You carry on, PJ. I'm going to try and get rid of. I'll have to get rid of that article now. I can't read the rest of it.
No worries.
I think I've given a few clues onto where to go if people want to look into it further.
Okay, thousands of mourners gathered on Monday at the Coptic church in Al village south of Cairo, home to 13 of 21 Egyptians beheaded by ISIS. Video on the website there, funeral. According to Reuters, one man was in denial at the death of his son. "Oh, Carolus, this is your wedding party. I'm very sorry, my son, because I did not have enough money to keep you from going to this place," he said. Black banners hung on the walls of the Church of the Virgin Mary, proclaiming, "Egypt, rise up, the blood of your martyrs is calling for you to take revenge." Pictures of the victims were laid out beside images of Jesus. There were no coffins because the bodies of the victims, who were dressed in orange jumpsuits, forced to kneel on a beach and then beheaded, were not returned home. So, without going too deep into this, keeping your attention now, moving on with the saying what people are thinking. Miliband defends Russell Brand's "Don't Vote" call. Labour Party leader Ed Miliband has defended Russell Brand's anti-voting message, saying the comedian reflects a widespread antipathy to politics. While Miliband insisted he does not agree with the comedian-turned-activist's call to ignore the election, he believes Brand's popularity reflects what many people are thinking. Brand has come under fierce criticism for calling on young people to turn their backs on elections. The BBC's political editor Nick Robinson called Brand sanctimonious. I'll let you fill in the blanks there. After the comedian refused to be interviewed for a Radio 4 programme about democracy earlier this year. In an interview with Shortlist magazine, Miliband said, "I definitely want people to vote, and I want people to vote Labour, obviously, but it's really important that we engage people in the election." People criticise Russell Brand, and I don't agree with his message, but what he's saying a number of people are thinking, which is that politics doesn't feel like it speaks to them, he added. Brand says he refuses to vote because politicians are untrustworthy and irrelevant. "Don't bother voting, stop voting, stop pretending, wake up, be in a reality now. Why vote? We know it's not going to make any difference," he told the BBC. Robinson told the Radio Times, "You see, I've got a bit of a beef with Brand. More than anyone I can remember in recent times has energised, excited and enthused people about some of the great issues of our time. and yet Brian continues to tell people that all politics and politicians are corrupt and banal are a waste of time. There he is, probably doing his gearing up for his Truce with his top on the topping his tat, which probably explains why we called it a sanctimonious. There you go. Moving on. Any comments on that one, or would you like to move on under?
Just very quickly, I know he's got his doubters and all the rest, and I sit on the fence with the guy, to be honest, but I agree with him about, you know, voting. That's the point. And actual fact, you know, that Robinson talking about democracy, I mean, what a joke. If you can't withdraw your consent, then you can't have a democracy in the first place, can you?
No.
So, you know, Russell Brand is correct in that instance. I actually, yeah, I go along with him with that. But like I say, I sit on the fence with him on it all, with him. But then I'm not saying he's a shill, or I'm not saying he's, you know, whatever. He frustrates me at times. That's all I can say about the guy. But, you know, what democracy? Yeah, wake up, in other words. But anyway, onwards, PJ. If you want.
Disgusting behaviour, outrage as Selfridges installs anti-homeless spikes. This is another one getting involved with the stabbing of a homeless person when he chooses to have a little nap. The UK's biggest department store, Selfridges, has provoked outrage after it installed disgusting anti-homeless spikes outside its Manchester branch. The anti-homeless metal spikes placed outside the Manchester department store make it impossible for the homeless people to sleep there. Residents in the area have confirmed homeless people used to sleep in the exact same place where the spikes are now situated. There's an image there for the spikes in Manchester at the Selfridges store. No different to the other.
I'm not getting your articles, PJ.
Well, you're not.
Well, I'm not, and I don't know whether it's my end or not.
Yeah, probably will be.
Okay. Carry on, I'll just listen.
A petition signatory Richard Young from Blackpool commented on the page, "Being homeless is not a crime. Damn this government of the rich for the rich." Young added, "If a company of this size and wealth can offer no better contribution to Manchester's homeless problem than to build themselves a fortress, then I won't spend my money there," another one said. So I say, well, if you let a homeless person sleep there, isn't that free security? Isn't that going to deter people trying to break in? I think it would, personally. Anyway, the petition has got over 130,000 signatures. So I'm not sure what the petition is going to achieve, but seems like they've already been put into place. The next article is the Greece faces disaster as debt talks end. Europe gives Greece until the end of the week to request a bailout extension after debt talks end in acrimonious fashion. Greece has warned it faces a disaster after talks aimed at renegotiating its debt broke down without an agreement. The country has rejected a draft proposal put forward by European finance ministers at a meeting in Brussels. Greece Finance Minister Yanis Varoufakis said negotiations would continue and that he had no doubt an agreement would be reached that would be therapeutic to Greece and for Europe. So there's quite a lot into this article. Have you got any thoughts on the Greece article today, Andy?
Yeah, I like the way they call them European finance ministers. They're bankers. That's what they are. They're the corrupt bankers that Shanghai in the world with corrupt, funny money, which they invent out of thin air. Let's get it right. That's all they are. Complete, you know. I'm not going to swear tonight, but they're bankers. That's what they are.
The big problem is that Greece is potentially going to run out of money quite soon. So for those that have kept up on this story, knowing that Greece has been hard hit, really hard hit, during the recession of 2008, or the robbery, as some may say. Next article. Go on, Andy, sorry.
Fraudulent bankers, that's all you can say.
Fraudulent bankers. Ukraine truce broken 139 times on the first day. Heavy fighting continues in the town of Debaltseve 24 hours after an international brokered ceasefire came into effect. Pro-Russian rebels have launched 112 attacks on Ukrainian troops, killing 5 in the 24 hours since the ceasefire came into effect, Kiev has claimed. So, here's a map. Don't know if the screen's now showing for you, Andy. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's come up now, so it's all a bit slow for me.
No problem. 112 incidents of shelling is not a ceasefire, so we are not ready yet to withdraw. Yeah, the map there, as you can see. An image there of the tank. Miss Merkel spoke with French President Francis Hollande and Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko on the phone on Monday, and the three expressed concern over the situation in Debaltseve. Meanwhile, Moscow said the EU had contradicted common sense by implementing fresh sanctions on 19 individuals and 9 organizations for undermining Ukraine's independence. The list includes Russian First Deputy Defense Minister Arkady Bakin, veteran singer Izaf Kobson, who voiced support for Russia's annexation of Crimea, has also been hit by asset freezes and travel bans that were agreed prior to the ceasefire deal. The 10-month conflict has already claimed more than 5,300 lives. It's getting quite bad over there in Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, ceasefire deals never mean anything other than escalation of the hostilities. They always do.
Yeah.
That's all a ceasefire is to escalate the hostilities. Because that's what it does all the time, everywhere. So I knew just when they was putting it together, it's to escalate the hostilities. Anyway, moving on.
Back to Telegraph on an addendum to yesterday's Flux news with Blackpool Bridger. This is the Ed Balls among 12 shadow cabinet members who claimed expenses without receipts, following shadow chancellor's advice that everyone should get a receipt for cash in the hand jobs, or in cash in hand jobs. Labour MPs putting spotlight over their expense claims. So I'm just going to quickly run through this because this is quite hefty in detail, because you know what these MPs are like for their expenses. So to make a long story short as possible, Mr. Bowles claimed 1,610 for cleaners, and his wife Yvette Cooper claimed £2,640 for cleaning and gardening, out of a total of £37,881 claimed by the 12 Labour MPs. No receipts for any of these. Let's go scroll down to the ones in question. Is Ed Bowles, he claimed 1,600 for cleaners. Mary Curry claimed 120 a month for cleaning, as well as around £50 a month for repairs. She didn't submit receipts. Rosie Winterton claimed £5,280 for cleaning, £300 for service and maintenance, and £2,302 for repairs on her Elephant and Castle home in South London. She was told no claim against allowances of £25 or more per item will be reimbursed unless it is accompanied by a receipt. She later began submitting receipts, but the fees office informed her that they would be withholding £841 26p for costs including repairs and insurance. In terms, his office wrote to Marie Eagle, the Shadow Secretary of State for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, querying her monthly cleaning bill of £100. The letter said, "I note that you claim regular nominal amounts for utilities, telephone, cleaning services, maintenance. Although we do not require sight of receipts or invoices for amounts which are £250 or less, we would need to know on what these amounts are based. Ideally, we would expect members to claim for actual amounts and not nominal amounts." So there you go. Chris Leslie claimed just under 2,000 for cleaning in the years of 2004 to 2005 before losing his Shipley seat at the 2005 election. Caroline Flint, the Shadow Secretary of State for Energy and Climate Change, claimed £216 for a gardener, £23.50 for a window cleaner, and £40 for a cleaner between 2005 and 2007, while Angela Eagle, Shadow Leader of the House, claimed £165 for cleaning. So there's a lot of cleaning, a lot of paying out for cleaning here. I mean, £100 for cleaning is for me. They're not the only ones. John Crudis, Douglas Alexander, poll of USER found 82% of people aged over 60 did not keep a receipt for small cash-in and jobs, compared with 64.2% of people aged 18 to 29 and 28.8% of those in their 30s. So you're thinking of that one. Paul's comments were rather ill-informed and naive.
Well, it's the I like the way they went. Well, you know.
Have you got any receipts, Ed? Have you got any receipts?
Yeah, exactly. What was that? Paul Joseph Watson, wasn't it?
Can you show your paper trail? We need to see your paper trail. Any more questions, comments, thoughts, opinions, rants before I pass it over to you?
Yeah. Can you hear me for a start?
I can, yeah.
Right. Well, they came out with this a few years ago, didn't they? And went, "Oh, it's the expensive scandal." But it's just a continuous expensive scandal. It's never stopped. It's never been corrected. It carries on. It's perks of the job. You know, he needs all these perks to fit his fat neck. But anyway,
well, I think they're investments. I don't call them expenses.
Well, expensive.
All these claims are investments, as far as I'm willing to see it.
Well, investing in what, PJ?
Well, if you're investing in anything, I mean, come on, man. £2, we're at £2 something for a dog ball. Invested in a dog ball.
It's just a game, PJ. It's all. You know, investing in what? Where's the investment come from? How do they finance an investment? From the Bank of England, who plucks it out of thin air. It's all a load of old scammy stupidity. I think when they deliberately spin this crap out, expensive scandal and all this lot, to make Joe Public think, oh, they're getting money for, you know, they're claiming for this and they're getting money, and it's to carry on the same old stupid scam of money actually existing. You know, when it's just numbers plucked out of thin air by a group of bankers. But anyway, that's about all I got to say. Take his face away. It's horrible. I'm going to steal the screen.
Go for it. It's all yours.
I hope so. There we go. Have we got that?
Yep, should have.
Ed Balls. What a name. That's not his real name. Anyway, forget about him. Here we go. This is an article for the All News Pipeline.
Hey, he did say, just before you move on, he did say that he's going to, you know, crack down on tax evasion. We said he might do. He might do. So now he's going to have a think about it.
You don't want me to tell you about, it doesn't exist again, do you? Anyway, this is article by Stephen Stanford, aka Live, Free or Die, All News Pipeline. I've got to give them the credits, it's their article. So, World Revisiting Ghosts of 1930s, Morgan Stanley warns. Prepare for riots and unrest coming to every major city. Yeah, we've been talking about it for ages, and we keep talking about it because we need to keep talking about it. Because once you stop talking about it, it'll happen, or people forget about it. With the collapse in the world oil prices leaving the socialist nation of Venezuela unable to import many basic goods, supermarket shelves laying empty, and real inflation running at nearly 100%, according to the analysts. Clashes are breaking out in the streets while a critical shortage of basic medical supplies leaves citizens of the country sick and dying. With people needing to line up for hours on end to get basic supplies and this financial contagion spreading across the world, Morgan Stanley has just warned the world is revisiting the ghosts of the 1930s as one country after another tries to get ahead of the others by devaluing their currency first. All across America over the last several years, police departments and US military have been preparing for the events that are soon to take place here, as warned about in the newly released video below from the Money GPS. The complete engineered breakdown of economy, the decimation of our chain of supplies, and the government sowing discontent in cities large and small in America as the dollar loses world reserve currency status and the total changeover of America is about to take place. From a first world country to a third world nation. Global economic collapse will spark civil unrest and riots in cities large and small across America. With hundreds of millions of Americans living in cities big and small across America, billions and bankers have prepared themselves for the death spiral. Moving out of the cities and into the country is the best way to ensure our chances for survival, according to strategic relocation expert Gerald Skousen, who warned that population density is the greatest threat we will face to our lives and our survival in a mass emergency situation, and those who remain in American cities once the final breakdown happens will have to put themselves and their families in harm's way. There you go. I'm just saying the same old story, but it's people say, oh, it ain't going to happen, it's not going to happen, oh, look, well, this is that. Well, there you go. Just have to keep repeating it. I'll move on quickly. Here's an interesting thing. By Rupert Jackie Devoy. Where did I get Rupert from? Where did that come from? I don't know. Posted by Jackie Devoy in News UK World. Amal Clooney accuses British government of torture. Excuse me, I'm saucing. Amal Clooney, a human rights lawyer and wife of Hollywood actor George, is taking on a massive legal challenge accusing the British government for acts of torture during the Troubles in Northern Ireland and of lying about it in court. The 14 men were subjected to hooding, stress positions, white noise, sleep deprivation and starvation, as well as to beatings and death threats. Some claim they were also thrown from helicopters while their heads were covered with hoods. Because of this, the case has become known as the Hooded Man case. Mrs. Clooney, who has recently joined the legal team representing the victims, has to prove that the abuse amounts to torture rather than the lesser category of inhumane and degrading treatment. Inhumane and degrading treatment. If she succeeds, then not only will the government be shamed and embarrassed, but the law books may have to be rewritten and the use of such heinous torture techniques seriously hindered. Independent reports Amal Clooney is about to take on one of the biggest legal challenges yet, accusing the British government of committing torture in Troubles era Northern Ireland and then lying about it to the European Court of Human Rights. The accusations will be levelled in a high-profile case due to come before the Strasbourg court. The outcome rewrite the law books and help to combat the use of torture globally. Here's what happened in August 1971. The UK authorities arrested and interned hundreds of men in Northern Ireland. 14 were selected for special treatment in a specially built interrogation centre at a British Army camp. The men claimed they were subjected to 5 techniques of hooding, stress positions, white noise, sleep deprivation, and deprivation of food and water, combined with brutal beatings and death threats. Some were also reportedly thrown from helicopters while their heads were covered with hoods. Allegations soon emerged of abuse. In the same year, Amnesty International sent its first ever research mission to the UK to investigate, interviewing the men and finding some of them still black and blue with bruises. What Mel Clooney, who has just joined the legal team representing the surviving men, must prove is that the abuse amounted to torture rather than the lesser category of inhumane and degrading treatment. The distinction is crucial. And Mel Clooney is about to take on one of her biggest legal challenges. Blah, blah, blah. The accusation will be levelled in a high-profile case due to come before Strasbourg court. The outcome will rewrite the books and combat the use. Yeah, just reiterating over what I said. Here's what happened, blah, blah, blah. It's repeated. We fell for that one, didn't we? The files show that the British government considered the special treatment as torture, and yet senior ministers sanctioned its use in Northern Ireland, both of which they had denied before the European Court. Mel Clooney and the rest of the hooded men's legal team now must show only succeeded in persuading the court to absolve it of torturing its own citizens by actively misleading the judges. More serious charges could scarcely be made: torture and lying to the European Court. If Ireland, the hooded men, and Mel Clooney succeed with this case, the implications are potentially huge. Success in Strasbourg would be very embarrassing for the UK government, but thanks to Mel Clooney, it could also set a new legal precedent which would hinder the use of such torture techniques in the future. And after all these decades, such a precedent couldn't be more welcome. So it was a little bit confusing there, PJ, but they kept repeating themselves in a minute.
Well,
but
it's no different from article the other day where we're talking about the British government being above the law.
Yeah, exactly.
And what was the act? Was it the Crown State Act?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is, I thought George Clooney was more for the old military-industrial complex man and all the rest of it, but his missus seems like, she might be a good egg. I don't know. She might be a good egg. If she does actually get that through, then I think it's a just cause, isn't it? Anyway, moving on. Any more on that, PJ?
Not unless there's another ulterior motive to it.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
why.
if the viewers can see anything else in connection to this, they might feel like they should comment.
Yeah.
Other than that, and the article we discussed the other day, I really don't think much is going to come of it. Do you, Andy? Personally,
No, I'd like to.
Would be good, but yeah.
I'd like to think they could do something, but Anyway, moving on. Here's an interesting article. This is off InfoWars by Mikhail Tallinn. InfoWars. I've had 2 articles off this today. I don't normally use them because he's got lots going on his site. He refreshes it every few minutes with comments and stuff, and if you quote stuff from him, it clogs your computer up. I think he does it on deliberately, so I try to stay away from it as much as I can. But
I'm getting that much stuff from Alex Jones that I had to unsubscribe.
Well, you got filters, haven't you, in your email? So.
No, not in my email. I just mean on my YouTube. You're uploading that much stuff during the day, we just can't keep up with it.
No, he's quite busy, isn't he? Anyway, this is quite interesting. It's quite amusing, not for the man, but man released after months in jail for possession of vitamins Police claimed vitamin powder was actually amphetamines. A Minnesota man was released from jail this week after spending close to 3 months in custody for possession of vitamins. The man, 31-year-old Joseph Burrell, was arrested last November after police claimed that a vitamin powder found in his vehicle was actually illegal amphetamines. Charged with 2 counts of felony drug possession, Burrell was incarcerated on $250,000 bail while the substance awaited final testing at the state crime lab. I told the judge I couldn't plead guilty to something I knew wasn't a drug, Burrell told the Mercato Free Press. They set my bail at $250,000 for vitamins. Pardon me. After spending weeks behind bars, Burrell was quietly released only days before his trial. Man released after months in jail for possession of vitamins. I had been sitting in jail since November with my bail set at $250,000, Burrell said. Then 2 days before trial, they dropped the charges and let me go. Lab analysts corroborated Burrell's claim after the powder did in fact turn out to be mere vitamins, not speed, as officers had claimed. Even more concerning, Burrell stated that police waited more than a month to send the evidence to the crime lab after his arrest. Similarly, the crime lab also waited 1 month after testing the substance to return it back to the prosecutors. As deplorable as Burrell's situation is, many have not fared as favourably. A multi-year investigation into the Federal Bureau of Investigation's crime lab by the Department of Justice uncovered rampant tampering of evidence. And I think this just goes on there to say he's appeared on the programme. Frederick Whitehurst, former supervisor of special agents in the FBI crime lab for more than a decade, joined the Alex Jones show in 2010 to discuss the FBI's long history of fabricating and altering evidence. Whitehouse blew the whistle in the 90s and forced the agency to adopt new guidelines in order to ensure greater oversight. Obviously, I'm not taking any notes of that, are they? But there you go.
So did the demand for his vitamins while they were incarcerated or locked up that time? Well, you should have expected to have still get your vitamins, surely, on a daily basis. If I need $250,000.
He may have been given speed while he was in the jail instead, you know.
Well, yeah, that's probably not surprising, isn't it? Yeah, mate, can we do a drug test just before we let you go? See, we've got a link here, guys.
But it's well, like the article says, though, you know, as deplorable as Burrell's situation is, many have not fared as favourable. So I think it's he had a 3-month stint in jail. Of course, they all have to mandatory work in jail for the military-industrial complex supplies, helmets, jackets, and all that sort of business. Big business is prison in the States, isn't it?
Hmm.
And of course, if you can get...
So would you class that as a wrongful arrest and unlawful? Where would we go with that one?
Well, it's an unlawful arrest, and in actual fact, it was an illegal arrest in the end because, well, I can't say illegal, unlawful arrest because, well, let's just say there was complete complacence, there was complete utter abuse of the law by all entailed within the case and everything, because of the way they operated. I just think it's typical.
Is Joseph Burrell taking any further action on?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, let me read. Well, this is this guy who's exposed that department, former FBI, whatever he was, is he? Of supervisory special agent in the FBI crime lab. He's exposed him. He's a whistleblower that appeared on Mr. Jones's show. So, yeah.
One of many.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. along with, I mean, you covered the main stuff tonight, PJ, and rightly so, because there's a lot to cover really today. It seemed like the end of the world, but I think it might be the end of the world as we've known it pretty soon, if all these troubles escalate. And everything seems to be coming to a head. Maybe 2015 could be the year. What do you think?
I'm saying it is. I can't see how it can go any further into another year, to be honest. I think this year is going to be the year for many, many things to come. But it's not all doom and gloom, because the more we disconnect from this program system, we can get closer to making a zone, eh?
Absolutely, and that starts with yourself.
Yeah.
Doing your own thing best way you can, and just getting on with it. And whether that's growing your own vegetables, doing your own energy, whatever. Better off. Oh, you've gone back to him, have you?
I'm just having a flick through just to show the articles we've discussed today for those that have just viewed in all late.
What's your view on? Can I ask you your view on Russell Brand totally, or are you a little bit? What are you? Because like I say, he infuriates me and frustrates me sometimes. The guy, because he comes out with some really good truths, and at other times he's you know.
I think he knows enough to know what's needed to be done on a personal, individual level, yeah. But
yes.
Because he's doing that much stuff on other things, no different to what we're doing. We're doing Flux News. I think he can, in some occasions, forget and drift off to as he used to be with his past and his comedy and. But I'm not saying comedy's wrong or bad or anything. I mean, it is needed a bit of humour because this stuff does bring you down. But other than that, he's no different at rest. He's not really got any solutions to the stuff he talks about. People saying, oh, he bashes on about Rupert Murdoch, where he's apparently got a Sky subscription to him. So I'm not too sure really. I just think he shouldn't be a person who should be relied on, whether people see him as some sort of messiah, as he goes on about with his messiah complex, and when he chucks his white cloth over his shoulder in the morning and does his truths.
Does he openly admit his hypocrisy?
I think if he does, I think he feels like he's in no different position to anybody else, because he knows there's no one who's come out yet with proper solutions. Because let's be honest, it's a complex situation to handle, and there's not that many people who's willing to even give it a go. You know, people are just happy to conform and consent and carry on with the normality of the so-called illusional life. But what can he do? What can anybody expect Russell Brand to do?
Well, exactly. But then, you know, in a way, we're all hypocrites. I don't think there's anybody out there living the whiter than white, you know, completely free.
No, it's not easy. It's difficult to. I mean, it takes so much time just to even get to that point in life where you're able to recognise what needs to be altered and reviewed. So, and then it takes time to establish some, you know, method of making that materialise. So. But I don't think personally he's. I think when times get rough, he could drop out. He doesn't touch on the serious sort of subjects, does he?
No. Well, he has an awful lot of Twitter support and all this business. You know, I think the political parties are a little bit. Not scared or frightened or whatever, because we don't really know what's really behind it all. But I don't think he's been bashed enough if he's a genuine threat. And also,
I do agree with him. We've saying there's no point in voting.
Yes, me too.
saying that he doesn't provide a solution. He says, "Oh, there's no point in voting." All right, Russell. So, what comes after that? What's his next step? What do you want us to do? You know, he don't seem to go any further with him. You know, but I guess neither with Ed Miliband is it going to get any further. So I
Yeah,
think
well,
this whole article here, and sorry to interrupt, but this whole article here is just pathetic, really.
yeah. I
A
mean, it
waste, a
does.
waste of talent, a waste of a lot of things, really.
I don't think he's worked it out himself. If he's genuine, I don't think he's actually worked. He's waking up. There's no. I've woken up. There's no
He's got nearly 1 million subscribers on YouTube, is he not?
more
So
than that.
he's up there with Alex Jones, yeah.
He's got in the UK. He's probably overtaken Mr. Jones in the UK. I mean, he's got more subscribers and more people following him than any people following political parties. So, really, this is what I'm saying. If he's genuine, and that would be a threat to the system. And I just don't see the system, sending the boys in blue round and trying to fix him up on this and fix him up on that. I don't know. Would do. Like I say, he's a frustrating geezer in my book. And like I say, I'm on the fence really.
Yeah,
I like sitting on the fence.
If he is, genuine like he says he is, and putting his past to one side and that, then give him credit. If he is working for the consciousness of one of us all, then yeah, why not? Okay. Are there any more thoughts, Rob?
No, I'm all talked out now.
Just a guy there, if anyone is wondering, that's him.com. Look into that article as well. Anyway, guys, join us tomorrow for more Flux news. Not sure who's going to be about doing it tomorrow, but I'm sure there's somebody. And if there's not, then drop us an email, and maybe you could be doing it one day to come.